Hey, what's up, everybody? BDF 44 coming at you another video. All right, so yeah, man, I'm gonna do another therapy session. I don't really have basketball in the brain because there ain't really much going on, so I figured I'd just give you some content at where my head is at the moment. Um, I'm enjoying my night. Obviously, I have so much on my plate that the last thing I really need to be doing is anything other than looking for apartments, looking for everything that needs to be done. I found myself applying for grants today, but I didn't really get far because the type of grants I was trying to apply for were not exactly for individuals. When I saw the figures they were offering, I'm like, am I applying for this or was that kind of thing? I'm like, nah, that's for somebody who's trying to like start a real actual business. People who are trying to like fund um certain types of like community activities and stuff like that. You can go to the government and get like $8 million to throw a block party or something. Like they do have that type of stuff out there if you're looking for it. So I want people to know what I didn't know, and that is there's a lot of money out there for your individual processes, whatever it is that you're looking to do. If you want someone to fund your art, like I was looking for options for art, I think that might have found something. Check out grant programs and government assistance programs. If you're an individual or a business, they're giving you something if you qualify. Now, the process of trying to qualify is very, very complicated. It seems you got to go to like 3 different websites to try to get connected to all 3 of them. You got to wait 7 days after one, and it's a lot of stuff. But if it all holds up, you can walk away with a whole lot. And I used to hear about grants a lot growing up, but I just never was the type of person to apply for literally anything. And I found myself in this situation, and I'm like, well, I've heard of grants. Let me look what they got. And I found myself frustrated with the application process, but ultimately intrigued by just all of the money that they're giving away. It's a lot. It's a whole damn lot. So that's something that regular people don't know. I'm looking around at all the stuff that's out here for people when they are in the position I'm in, and I'm just like, man, they really make it difficult to apply for these things. It's almost like they only want to give the money to certain types of people. It's like, yeah, they have the money for the homeless, but they don't want to actually give it to the homeless. They'd rather give it to like the people who are kind of just like not so homeless, but going to be homeless, but really were people who was wealthy in the past and just kind of fall on hard times. Those are the people that seem like they only want to get the money to people who are already educated and probably shouldn't be out there in the first place. Why? Because they're more likely to pour money back into the economy. So I think that's what it's really about. They're trying to vet through who they think is just too damn stupid to pay, and they just leave those people on the street. That's how I took it. So yeah, that, everything's a mind game, man. Every business, every single type of thing is a mind game. You sign up for healthcare, they spam you with 30 calls a day. You sign up for a little grant program, you get hit with 40 emails in like 3 hours. It's just, we're in a time where there's no slowing down the algorithms and the computers that are really ultimately doing these jobs. They don't have any filter. They don't care. They're going to send you 100 things at once, and that's it. And so my thing is, man, it's kind of hard to cipher through the ad spam. It looks so legitimate, but honestly, you just gotta pay very close attention to every link that you click on, because you click on the wrong thing and you end up in the spam world. But nevertheless, I get spammed every day. Sometimes I answer the phone and nobody there. They just trying to like get their log off on me. You know what I mean? I call, answer the phone, and ain't even nobody answer. It's just a spam call. Like it's gotten to a point where it's like, yo, where is the regulation for this stuff, man? Who is telling these people it's okay to do this? Why are the phone companies allowing these companies to harass their clients? And I really do believe that. It's just a theory in my head, but I think that Samsung and all these different companies, Apple, they be allowing certain things just to push their program. Just to push their program, however they want to see it go, they allow certain things. They can regulate them stuff themselves. They know when a spam call comes through. They let you know it's spam. They let you know it's scam likely. So just block the call before it comes through. But anyway, that's in a perfect world. Hopefully that world will become perfect soon. But yeah, that's what's on my mind, man. I'm just looking around, trying to decompress from everything I got going on. I offered up my entertainment system back there. Put it on OfferUp along with the TV, bundled up for $135. I don't know if I'll actually get that, but I figured I'd aim for a decent price. I've had that thing for probably over 12 years, but it barely gets used. It's in great condition. It never moves. I never touch it, never drop nothing on it. So it's like, at the end of the day, it's in fantastic condition. I don't know what my mom initially paid for it, probably like $150. And then the TV itself, I don't even remember how much I spent on the TV. But it works. It's in good condition. Everything's in good condition. It's all ready to go. And I think I put a decent price on it. Have something that I'll be happy with. Something the other person probably be happy with. So ain't no big deal, man. I don't really care. I could probably get more for it. I don't care. I just leave it at that. And so that's pretty much it. I did, like I said, you saw me walking today. I enjoyed that. Can't wait to get back to it tomorrow. All that good stuff is important. Talking to my sister, you guys saw that. I had a great time speaking with her and then sharing with her a link to my therapy sessions. And so it's just a lot of stuff, man. The channel is going to grow now. That's what I'm here to tell people. I think that my confidence in sharing with all of my friends and family is starting to become more so because I'm real proud of what the content is about. When it's the Lakers, it's like I know the people who love the Lakers will eventually just click on whatever they want to, and that'll be enough. But when it comes to this stuff like this, it's like, oh, okay. Well, there's some things that I'm saying here that I think could really be good for people who know me, to get a better understanding of who I am, a better understanding of what's going on in my heart and head. A lot of people who've known me from afar, if they get a chance to watch all 320, whatever, 230 of these things that we got here, they're gonna know me in ways that they didn't. They're gonna understand me in ways that they didn't, and they're gonna confirm that the thought that they had about me, that I think that they could appreciate my energy, I guess you could say. I think I've said a lot of things in this camera that have really painted the picture of who I want to be and who it is that I ultimately, kind of want to convey into the world. And it's like, I read something, and kind of skip away from that, but I read something today, and IG as always do, and it says something along the lines of, men tend to hide their emotion. As a result, the unlifing weight, is high. And it's one of those things where it's like, I don't necessarily disagree at all. I think that we need to undo some of the defenses that are put up to make us seem like our emotions don't need to be addressed, or like our feelings don't need to be expressed, or what have you. Not everything is anger and posturing, you know what I mean? But if you look at certain dudes, that's all you're gonna see. They ain't gonna break open nothing. They ain't gonna let you open nothing up in regards to them, and they're gonna suffer on their own. They're gonna die early. That's how it usually goes. Men like that, we don't live past 69, because you're gonna decompress all your energy, and ultimately it's gonna go into your health, and you're gonna die. I mean, that's how it literally goes. And it's something that's been understood for a long time, that women tend to share more, and because they share more, they just live longer, happier, more peaceful lives, it seems. And so guys be trying so much to one up one another, go to war, get money, and all kinds of other stuff that just doesn't really address some of the things that ultimately make us unhappy, and make us, I guess you could say, disagreeable. And so I've kind of taken that, and I personally think it's because I didn't have my father in the house to give me any of that energy. I got all the compassion and all the stuff from my mother that you can get from a woman. But for me, I took that and I ran with it. As a man, it's like I respect masculinity and what it's supposed to be. I harbor that. It's a straight guy, you know what I mean? Whatever but at the end of the day, that whole I'm gonna hide my feelings inside thing, not really. Nah, that don't work for me. I think I'm more comfortable expressing everything. But you're not gonna see me in this camera crying. That is where I draw the line. As of yet, I mean, I have cried, and I told you guys how proud I am for finally being able to cry. But that doesn't mean that you need to see a black man broken in this camera. Nah. Now, if you're crying tears of joy or something touched your heart, that's a totally different story. But I'm talking about the agony of pain and stuff like that. No, I'm not going to turn on the camera if I'm ever feeling like that. I don't believe so. I felt that down, but you ain't about to see me up here bawling and crying. It's just not what I'm going to do. But I do think that there's a world where this conversation is relevant for the person who chooses to express that. It is. It's relevant. It's the same thing. You just got to get to a point where you're comfortable with what you're willing to do and what you're comfortable with what you're willing to show. And if it's necessary for it to come out, it should be fine for a guy to be able to get that out. But, there's a line I think that you don't cross as it pertains to that. If that's those things kind of matter to you, while still being able to express yourself and get those feelings out as necessary. So that's the balance, man. You want to still be a man, but you don't want to be a toxic masculinity force of ignorance that often a lot of us are. You know what I mean? Where we just can't get nothing going because we're too busy posturing. Can't tell the woman we love how we feel because we too hard for it. Too hard. Can't do it. It's like, all right, bro, you got it, but you're hurting yourself at the end because there's a lot to experience and there's a lot of love to be found from within. If you're able to express the pain, you can get it out and replace it with something good. But a lot of times we don't want to get that pain out. We don't even want to acknowledge it. And the suppression of it makes us worse, turns us into whatever. You know, so that's what I wanted to say, man. I think, excuse me, the LGBTQ community, they kind of have a better hold on that thing as it pertains to expressing their emotions, expressing their feelings, being open. You know, that's not something that the straights really do too much on the male side of the game, for the most part. And it's one of those situations where it's like, I don't think that we need to mimic their culture or their behavior as it pertains to that, but take a little couple of nuggets from it as to say, not everything needs to be just held on in. Not everything needs to be postured against. Not everybody is looking to judge you for whether or not you're strong or not. And not all of that energy that is given to you to make you look strong is actually going to translate to you actually being strong. Sometimes it's the openness and letting things in, letting things go, that actually truly gives you the strength that people often want to be seen as having. So that's how I look at it. For me, it's like a lot of times I look at strength the opposite way as a lot of people do. It's like strength is me being open in this camera, not knowing who's on the other end of it, and whatever could happen based on what it is I'm saying could happen. That's, to me, is more difficult for a lot of people than being closed or being fake or saying a bunch of lies or whatever the case may be, getting on here and just capping for the world to see. That's a lot easier to pretend. I got it all together. I got all the money. Look at me. That's cool. You might fool a few people, but you don't fool yourself when you look in the mirror. You're not actually strengthening yourself. You're just slowly decaying underneath the mask. That's exactly what that is. And so it's like, you get to a point where it's like you see so many people do that. You see them be unhappy doing that. And it's just like, I took it to the max. I just said, nah, I'm going to be myself. I'm literally going to be this person. I'm a man that was raised by a woman with a lot of compassion, a lot of soft energy, a lot of peace energy, a lot of, you don't have to fight right now, like that energy. You turn the other cheek if necessary. Try to stay away from that. All types of stuff that really ain't of the masculinity mindset. Is like, go after, go take it, it's yours, go get it, fight, kill, that, all that. I don't know, man. Raised by a woman. Just it don't necessarily turn into that unless she's intent on raising a manly man. As to which sometimes that just gets really, really confusing. It gets really confusing, you know. Just gotta raise kids the way you can. You can't try to be a man. You know what I mean? You just gotta be a woman raising a man. That's it. So, yeah, man, I think that it brings me back to what we were talking about yesterday, which is the family structure and needing that to be intact so that you can have both of those things. So that's what I want to say about that. At the end of the day, man, I just hope that I'm displaying a certain level of openness with everybody that they can really relate to. And if you can't relate to it, you can see I'm trying to relate to others and maybe try to do that yourself. Trying to make people feel like they're not alone. That's one of the things that my sister Diane told me today, is you're not alone. She was explaining to me that she too had some issues with wanting to be isolated when she was in 6th grade. Had a long period of time where she didn't want to leave the house. She thought she was grown. And she just felt like she couldn't leave the house for nothing. She didn't want to leave. She didn't want to go to school. She wasn't ready to join junior high or something. And she just couldn't get out. She couldn't leave the house for a little while. And, you know, when I heard that, I was like, yeah, that's what I have, but just on a much, much greater scale. It's extremely more severe than that. And so this just brings me back to what it was I was saying about my dad's side of the family having mental health concerns. I told y'all I didn't know who else may have something. Now, Diane's expressed to me she had the exact same thing I had, you know, just in a lesser way for just a short period of time. But mine is like, it's chronic. It's chronic. It's all lifelong. It comes and goes in terms of waves, but ultimately it's something I'm trying to overcome every couple years, no matter what It's always a different reason, but it's always the same thing. And so it's like I'm ready to stop that. And what will help me stop that is having some way of understanding what it is. And so because I was raised with my mom and only know of my mom's side of the family for the most part, I would never have known. All these years, I never knew that another one of my siblings had similar symptoms. Because I told y'all about my brother Matthew. He's got mental illness. I told y'all that my niece Bree told me she's dealt with some things internally. And so it's like, I know my sister Sonia, she also has dealt with some things. So it's like, I know it's prevalent. Mental illness can be prevalent on that side of the family. Maybe not as severe as myself and Matthew, but nevertheless very severe. So it's like, you just gotta get to a point where you are able to kind of get enough understanding of what you are genetically so that you can psych yourself into understanding that you don't have to beat yourself up or be confused about where this comes from or just think it's not a problem at all, because nobody you're around has that problem that you're related to. And that was what I was going through all my life. Mama didn't know what the hell I was dealing with. She didn't relate to that at all. She didn't have that gene in her at all. That came from my father. So it was like she didn't know what she was dealing with. None of her family dealt with that. None of this, her sisters had anything like that when she was raising them early in life. And it's like, she get her son, and it's like, what the heck? Who is this dude? Why is he struggling so much? Why can't he just leave the house? It's just like my sister Diane was saying, when she was going through that, when nobody talking about no mental health. They were talking about mental health. They just get your act together and get out. And eventually that's what it was. But it's like, she explained to me that she never quite overcame that fully. And it's like, I understand, sis. If nobody ever expressed to you within the family that they have something like that, this little brother of yours has got the worst version of that. Like the worst version of that. And I've had it the whole time, and it's why I've stayed away. And so I think that that's just what it is. I almost believe that the Lord made me this way so that he can put all of this in my heart to try to make up for it. You know what I mean? It's like he kept my distance from people so that I wouldn't be so close to the toxic nature of certain folks or however it goes, so that I could always have positive thinking and intentions of making people feel better or whatever I'm doing in this camera. I think it's purposeful that I've kept those interactions the way that I did up until this point. It just gave me the mindset that I do ultimately, you know what I mean? But all in all, to have that understanding that maybe she dealt with something similar or that she did deal with the same thing, it's like, okay, so it comes from there. It comes from the side of the family. Dad didn't have that to my knowledge in any way, but I always go back to my grandmother, who I did not know, who none of us really from this generation would have ever gotten a chance to meet, because she passed when my dad was like 22 years old or something like that. But I always wonder if she suffered from any anxieties, mental illness, or some type of nonsense, depression. I wonder, because if she had a severe case of it, then it would make all the sense in the world why all of us got it. You know what I mean? Why the family under my dad has that. I don't know if any of his sisters, kids, anybody I just gotta run through. It's such a big family. I don't know who all else would suffer from something like that. I don't know, but I know me. I know me, and this has been a roller coaster for 38 strong years of emotions and anxieties and feelings and just problems with that. And the part that really, I guess you can say, is really confusing for me right now is how I've been in such a positive space as it pertains to how I'm dealing with this and praying to God, feeling all great. You guys seeing how I'm doing. But my body, how it's reacting to what's happening, it feels like it's dealing with depression. I've eaten probably like 2 meals in the last 2 days and not hungry at all. Stomach ain't hungry. I barely got through my meal a couple hours ago. Barely got through that bolus of oatmeal earlier in the day. And I think I took 2 bites of oatmeal yesterday, and that was all I ate. So it's like, and the stomach felt full this morning. So it's like, okay, the stress is really having it's taking a toll on me, even though my psychology and how I feel mentally is controlled. It's under control. I feel good. I feel ready for what I need to do. I feel progressing and all of that. But the stomach, nah. My eating habits and my strength, trying to work out. I tried to do some working out today, but because I didn't eat well, I ain't had no energy. So it's like, man, my body is not feeling this. My spirit under control. God got me. I'm feeling great. I'm ready to do whatever needs to be done. I trust him. But that body is telling me, man, we are going through it, bro, and I'm not okay. And it's like, well, you just gonna have to be okay, stomach, because I ain't gonna not eat, and I'm certainly not gonna enjoy the fact that my body ain't gonna be working out while I'm going through this. I have very, very strong intentions to keep doing what I've been doing physically. And I was just looking at Trey D from the East Siders, Snoop Dogg's old rap group, and he was doing all kinds of working out and motivating and just letting us all know that he ain't slowing down for nothing. Dude's probably is 50 something. In fact, one of my cousins know him. My cousin Jamil know him. Shout out to Jamil. But yeah, it's one of them situations where he just motivated the heck out of me just now in regards to wanting to keep on working out, because that brother got me by like 25 years or whatever, and is still doing all the jump, all the workouts, all the squats, he was telling us all the regimens he was doing. I'm like, I don't even think I can keep up with that dude. I don't think I can keep up with him right now. So it's like, that's where I'm trying to be 20 years from now. It's still on my grind, still sweating, still working, still pushing. And so I'm establishing those habits now. And as I go through this stress, one of the things that I've been praying a lot about is just keep my stem strong. I'm not lacking in motivation. I'm just lacking in the time to do it and whatever else. But I'm ready to work. My body will respond. I'm ready to do the squats. I'm ready to do everything. So that's what it is, man. I just have intentions of keeping my body in shape, and then from there, being cool with the results. Because that is ultimately what I've been doing in this house, and I'm very proud of what I've done here. But I know my metabolism is trash, so if I slow down for even a second, it goes left. It's just how my body works. So that just is what it is, man. I'm looking good right now, feel good right now, but I am also in a space where I feel like I've eaten like 5 meals, and that is not okay. So just dealing with the stress, man. But anyway, I just want to come here and give you guys some therapy session. This wasn't one of those super preachy ones. I think that all of that comes very organically when you're praying that way, you're thinking that way, you're feeling that way. You just give it when you have it, and when you don't have it, you just give whatever's normal. I think for me, I've just been looking at social media, so it's not exactly that space for me right now. But I've been very proud of these therapy sessions I've been doing these last couple of days. I've been very proud of my energy in regards to how I'm handling all of this, how I've responded to all this, even today, doing all the things that I was ultimately able to do, including walking down the street. It just speaks to me trying to heal myself and finding some small breakthroughs, and then starting the process of new conditioning, which is something that I know I can do based on other things that I've already started and been able to continue doing. So, I just got to keep on trying to figure out what else to throw away. Like I think I told you guys already, I offered up my entertainment system. I'll probably look to sell more things if I can. Take some of the stuff that I got in here that I would never even think to sell and see if somebody would actually buy it. And that's going to be what my focus is tomorrow, is try to apply for more things. And as far as everything that needs to be thrown away, I'm in a weird spot between wanting to be able to inhabit my house, not having nowhere as of yet destination, and then still needing to clear this place out rather quickly. So it's kind of weird. It's like I'm living here. I can't live here for long, but I don't want to put everything in a space where I can't live here for the time being. So it's tricky. It's tricky trying to inhabit a place that you have to leave real fast. It's a different kind of energy, but at the same time, it's like I know they're not counting weekends, and I don't think I've verbalized this in this camera, but in regards to the 10 days, they're not counting weekends. So that actually makes it so like more like 13 or 14 days. So I think what the judge initially said, I think the word he said was the 21st. I have to be out by the 21st. And so that's what I wanted to update everybody. I've been telling y'all 10 days, 7 days, but it's actually no weekends counted in regards to that. So that gives me some time to keep looking for what it is I need, and ultimately keep praying and getting that breakaway energy necessary to break away from this apartment that I've been stuck to for 8 years, but 2 years straight, no break. So I tell you guys, I think I feel pretty good about that. As far as letting this place go, I don't feel like my mind is telling me, oh my God, we're about to lose something that we can't afford to lose. I just think that this place has done everything it's supposed to do for me. I've done everything I'm supposed to do here. It hasn't been all that fun in this apartment as of late with this court crap going on. And now that the court crap is behind me, I'm ready to leave their apartment. I'm ready to leave. I've done everything I need to do. Everything spiritually that needs to be done in this house is pretty much over. with the exception of whatever the heck he wants me to do tomorrow and the day after that and whenever, how many more days this is. But as far as me sitting here saying, Lord, please don't let me lose my apartment, find a way to fix it. Nah, I don't want you to do none of that. I want you to get me something new, segue me from here to there, let me keep my bed. Those are the only things I really want. Let me keep my bed and let me find me another place to lay my head. Everything else I can basically figure out from there. You know what I mean? Especially now that I'm aware of all the different avenues that are possible for me. And having a conversation with my friend B today kind of helped me understand that, based on what she had learned during some of the times that she had seen someone, a therapist, she felt like they were going to possibly say that I have something chronic. Now, I've heard that word before, but I never equated it to me and my issue. But yeah, I guess if it's more than 2 years, she said it's considered chronic. I've been dealing with this for 2 years straight and off and on for the whole time. So it's like, if ever there was somebody who had something chronic, I guess it would be me. Chronic depression, chronic isolation. I don't know what the word would be. I don't even know what this is. But I know it's very unique. And I know that it's been keeping me making decisions that keep me in the house for long periods of time, for a long time. And it's kept me away from a lot of people, a lot of good things, a lot of opportunities, a lot of information. It's kept me from living a very full life for the duration of it. So when you consider what mental illness is about, and the people who are wondering what mental illness is in the black community, how does it look, who's sick, who's not, I don't think it's as simple as saying mental illness is something that we just started talking about, or because a lot of times we say, oh, mental illness just started coming around. No, mental illness was always in place. We just weren't privy to what the hell it was. People were always crazy. And a lot of times, because we didn't identify people were crazy, we empowered the wrong people, we followed the wrong people, we were letting people who would be deemed mentally ill today run the country, run our churches, run all kinds of stuff. And because we've learned the data of what we learned, I think it was hard for people to identify who was mentally ill in the past. And I think some of the stuff that we are actually looking at in regards to some of our old ways, some of them old laws, some of the stuff that we were actually married to, people that we thought had the country under control, the world under control, I'm willing to bet if we could test their psychology, some people's very ill, man. Probably some of them were very mentally ill. And to not consider that these days when we live off these old ways is kind of funny to me. It's like we just found out that people could be mentally ill. So what were we neglecting all the way up until this point? How many presidents were mentally ill? How many, you know what I'm saying? Like seriously, crazy. You talk about some of the worst people that ever walked the earth. I know people don't like equating evil deeds with mental illness, but I guarantee you something's very wrong with their brain. Something's very wrong with their brain. That is exactly where my head goes. And I know the black community a lot of times does not like that. Don't say he got mental illness. Don't say he got mental illness. It's not, but you're not equating mental illness the right way. Mental illness means the brain is screwed. That's it. The brain got something wrong with it. That's all. That person's brain shaped wrong. That person's brain is pushing out the wrong chemicals, whatever the hell it is. They got something wrong with them. And as a result, their behavior is off. Now, whether that behavior is them throwing crap around the room, shooting guns at people, I don't know, doing all kinds of awful stuff. The point is, something's awry in the skull, and therefore they have an illness of the mind, a mental illness. So I wanted to articulate that, man, because it gets really irritating hearing black folks do that. Yeah, why are you going to say he got mental illness? The man's nuts. Of course he got mental illness. He is a mentally ill person. He just shot up 30 people. He crazy. So, like, that's what I just want to say, man. I had to get that out because that's been frustrating me for a long time. Anyway, so that's what I got to say, man. If the person's behavior is off, they probably need to address it. I don't care if it's temporary. I don't care if it's like me. I don't care if it's a lot worse. If the behavior is off, it needs to be addressed. You know what I mean? I wish somebody would have told me that several years ago. But I'll tell you that now just to make up for it. So that's what it is, man. I want to tell people to go get your head checked. If you've been through anything, if you've seen something you ain't supposed to see, if life went a triggering way, you're fed up in any way, can't stand it no more about to break, this is when you get your help right now. This is when you start looking for stuff that I should have been looking for when I had that issue with the car that day. All them issues with the car, you name it, all of them. All of that should have been addressed with a therapist. All of it. And so you just let your mental health go by the wayside and it does not get better. I can tell you that. It don't get better. You know? And so that's what it is, man. I feel like I made some huge breakthroughs. You know, listen to my friend B as I was telling her what I was going through. She was really excited about me just walking down the street. So was Kay, for that matter. Like, yo, Kay told me, she was like, I was more worried about you when you was in the house, not leaving the house at all, than what I am right now. You know, it's like, because the behavior was alarming. And I know that, but at the same time, I think it was sound in the sense that I knew what I was trying to accomplish. I knew why I was doing it. It was just the mental illness that was really keeping me making decisions rather than taking the opportunity to get help while everything was somewhat stable. All of the different things that I could have did to help myself. You know, I looked up today, I saw something that said, if you need help with rental assistance, we got. I'm like, now I know of one rental assistance opportunity, but I didn't know there were multiple ones that I could have helped myself to keep this from happening, or ways to cut down the debt before it ever got to this point. Those were the things that I looked at today when I no longer had a choice to not, but they actually needed to be seen when I was still able to help the situation. And so it's like, that's how you know for a fact that I'm not capping about my mental illness. You can tell that there's something extremely awry when solutions are in place, but I couldn't bring myself to view those either. I mean, so I know I've said it a trillion times, everybody who's heard me, but I think that is something that's important when we're considering what it is that I'm dealing with. Since it's a therapy session, I think people should know exactly what it is I'm dealing with. And it's a very specific type of anxiety, to where before you're fine, before you're not fine, rather, when you get out there, when you start dealing, when you're in the mix, for the most part, you're fine. For the most part. So it's like the rhyme and reason and the ability to communicate and, all that stuff just makes people look at you and say, you're not really crazy, bro. Like, and I just tell them, it's like, look, I don't know what I would have been if I didn't go through what I went through when I was 2. That's the reality of it. There's 2 things I didn't get. A long period of 12 years of education, like normal people do when they started kindergarten and go all the way to 12th grade, maybe miss a couple days of school, that's it. I didn't do that. I didn't do that the whole time. I would go to school when I wanted to go to school, and sometimes when I was in school, I wasn't paying no attention. Homework was something I did not deal with. Like, these were things just like, yo, y'all don't see something wrong with this kid? When I look back on my own behavior, it would not have taken me a day to know that child needed some help with his head. And I guess it's because I'm from an era where mental health is just prevalent and relevant. But even as a child, I think I was 8 years old and I told my mom I was struggling with this. There's something wrong with me, mama. And it's like, I don't really know what happens there as it pertains to my mom, and when she hears that, and then what happened after that. I don't know how you don't address that. See the behavior and not necessarily correlate that with something that needs to be done for that behavior. I just really find myself very frustrated about looking back on that and not seeing how that didn't come about. It's hard to even say. And the sad thing is one of the things, me and my mom talked about a lot of things, and we came to conclusions about a lot of things. But when she had passed, I hadn't really thought about that part yet. I really hadn't given that the requisite amount of confusion as it pertains to, so why didn't we address the head? We went through all different types of avenues to try to get me to get out the house, and then we gave up on me. Did we not consider the fact that maybe a psychologist would have been the answer? That's the part where I would like to have that conversation with my mother. This is not possible. This is not possible. But I think she did the best she could. I'm certain she did. But I just don't know how you can watch a kid stay home from school for like 3 months straight with the same symptom of a stomach ache every day and I think something's wrong. I don't. Even my friends were telling me, your mom lets you do this? I don't get it. I still don't get it. But I love my mom just the same. Nobody's perfect. She did the best she could. You know what I'm saying? We didn't know nothing about mental illness. But to me, it's just like, even for the times we were in, I would have known, like, yo, this guy, this particular one, yeah, he's going to need other things. It ain't going to be just him sitting in the house figuring this out. And it ain't him just being ornery. But that's the ignorance of the times, man. It's the ignorance of the times. I think that's why I'm here to speak like this. So never again we look at certain behavior and misdiagnose it so poorly. So poorly. And so that's the frustration of my adult life, looking back on that and not being able to grasp the logic at all when I assess things the way that I do. It's like, you serious? You really didn't get that kid no help? But this is what it is, man. And then I get frustrated and I look around at others who also saw my behavior. Did anybody talk to my mom and say, yo, that kid ain't right? It's nothing, see? I guess nobody saw it. You know what I mean? I guess I was invisible throughout my entire childhood. Being home really truly left me invisible. Nobody noticed I was not well. So, I mean, yeah, do I hold myself accountable for getting help? I need to, for myself now, for sure. But back then, I just don't know that I was even cognizant enough to know that there was help available. I didn't. And part of the reason why is because nobody suggested it existed. So, take me to the school psychologist. What is the school psychologist going to do for this? And I do remember she gave me the school psychologist. And let's talk to the school psychologist. And they want to talk about what's going on at home. Like, bro, that ain't it's mental illness, my guy. Damn, nothing going on at home. Everything's fine. I'm just pushing out the wrong chemicals. So it just gets to a point where it's like, all right, man, forget what led up to this point. Let's forget everybody who wasn't seeing what they need to see in regards to myself. Let's just get to a point where we do what we need to do so that we can undo all this at this point. And if it can't be undone, then just give me my pills and let's go on about my day. Get my little disability check. Let me go about my day. Because at the end of the day, I'm telling y'all, this ain't going to turn off. This ain't. You get to a point where you're 38 years old and you know for a fact that this is something that's going to happen again. I have no doubt. Especially if I really get some money, I'm going to stay in that house till I'm out of here. I promise you I will. It's just what I'm naturally wired to do. And so it has to be undone. Me willing to undo it may get it done for a while. And hopefully it lasts forever. But I just know the pattern. And at this point, it's like, the pattern is very, very set. It's set. Every 3 years, I have to sit in the house for 2 years or something like that. It's just absolutely awful. You can't make nothing happen that way in life. And so that's why I defy all that. Turn on this camera, did all the stuff I did in this house, because I'm going to defy all that anyway. That's the beauty of the times we're in. They give you a phone, and you can turn yourself into somebody, even if you can't leave the house. So I'm thankful for the tools, man. I don't know what I would have did if the tool didn't exist. How my adulthood would actually go if there wasn't such thing as this. So it is what it is, man. It makes sense, I suppose. But at the end of the day, you guys, I just be wanting to give you guys the best energy I got. And sometimes it's not easy to do that when you're assessing your problems. But as I showed you guys today, there's a lot of love in my life. I got a lot of loving people. My mom had left me a note that I found. I told y'all about that. Found it today. It was good energy, all great energy. Love my mom unconditionally, whether she was able to get me help or not see that or whatever. It didn't matter because she gave me a lot of love, and I think I'm still breathing because of that love. So it evens out. And like I always say, you don't know what comes with what. For all I know, I get help back then. It takes me on a different path. It's even worse than this. I don't know. God wanted it to be the way it is. So that's part of the process, is accepting things. Not necessarily having anybody to blame and just being okay with that. But you can't shake the fact that that things were as they were, and you really don't get a chance to find out what people were thinking. You just don't find out. So that's where my head is, man. I don't think I blame my mom for any of that, man. I don't know that if I wasn't raised with my father, I'd probably have the same problem. You know what I mean? I am who I am no matter where I'm at. So the conditioning for me has to change. The desire from day to day has to change. And judging by how I've been able to start other things, maybe I can just start doing other things the same way and then work the conditioning in by way of that. So just gotta do what we gotta do, man. Gotta work on our own brain. And that's what the name of the game is over here at BDF. Brain deficiency frequently. I don't know what to call it, but I'll find new acronyms for BDF. I'm sure you guys got plenty of them. So that's really what it is, man. I'm just sitting here very thankful to have my apartment tonight. You know what I mean? It's one of those situations where you still gotta be able to appreciate what you have. I am very much housed right now, and that is real. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people outside right now, much more sick than me, sometimes much more capable than me. So I want them off the street, and I'll tell you guys that I'm praying for these people every time I get a chance, especially right now. So it ain't a moment in time where I'm not thinking about people somewhere going through something worse than what I am. They definitely are, and We appreciate what we have because of it. So that's what it is, man. I'm trying to make the world a little bit of a better place by way of suggestion, and I hope that I'm helping people toward the trying to be that by way of the way I equate things and see the world. And I hope that I've suggested ways for you to look internally and say, yeah, that can be tweaked a little bit, that can be done better, or I could view things in a way that allows me to be received better. I don't think it's hard to do. Though it may be hard to, but I don't think that's something that shouldn't be done. So that's what I gotta say, man. That is my thought. I pray for all of you guys. I pray for energy, specifically for myself, and decent eating and workout habits going forward for all of us, man. We gotta eat to live, we gotta work to live, and we gotta remember to take care of ourselves, be kind to ourselves, be kind to others. And if we do that, I think we have ourselves a much better life. So I think I'll end the therapy session there and go back listening to it, see what was said here. Try to see if there's any comfort to be found. This ain't one of them comforting videos, I don't think, but just getting things out, man. Getting things out, healing, intentional, and focused. I think that's the word I'm going to use right now. I'm focused. I'm focused on holding myself accountable for any lazy energy that I exude, holding myself accountable for any negative energy that I'm pushing out in the camera, and just staying close to him, staying close to God, making sure that I'm still close, and that's really what it's about. Because as long as I'm close, the energy of negativity and anxiety is not coming in. But if I start pushing away from God, that's when the doubts creep in. That's when it starts getting harder to hear that voice. That's when it starts getting more difficult to do what needs to be done. And so I'm close to God, man. I'm right here with him, and I'm very thankful for that connection that's with me. And I hope that you all can have that connection with him as well, as you see fit. So that's what I got to say. My name is BDF 44. I thank you all for watching. Out.